So this week we watched a film called either Le Mans 66 or Ford versus Ferrari, depending on your location, if you're European or American. It tells the story of Le Mans 66, where Ford attempts to go up against Ferrari, who's a 4 or 5 year running Le Mans champion.
Yeah, they've been winning it since like the late 50s, haven't they?
Yeah, something like that. And it's good. What did you think?
I thought it was really good, yeah. Because I was aware of some bits. So I'll say, we were just talking before we started recording this segment. Spoilers for the film, but it is also based in history, so we're not going to do any special spoiler sections. There was stuff I did know, like the beginning of the film, obviously, around Ford wanting to buy Ferrari.
Yeah.
I knew that they had tried to buy Ferrari and Enzo was like, nah. But I didn't know that Ferrari were using it to basically try and get Fiat to pay more.
Right, yeah.
Well, that was quite an interesting story. And when I was actually looking up about this film afterwards, apparently the script was written like in the 90s, and originally, did you know who they were going to try and get to play the two main roles?
No, go on.
Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise.
Oh, really? That's very 90s.
Yeah. That would have been very 90s. But actually, what I'll say is, I think...
Who's who? Who would Brad Pitt be? Who would Tom Cruise be?
I imagine, just because of the... obviously, who they end up playing the characters, I imagine Tom Cruise would have been...
Carroll Shelby.
No, I was thinking Ken.
Really?
Yeah, I was thinking Brad Pitt would have been Carroll Shelby.
Well, Brad Pitt does a better working man, I think, doesn't he?
Yeah, but the thing is, Tom Cruise can do that kind of slightly older looking, slightly more disgruntled.
Yeah, I guess.
Whereas I think Brad Pitt would have been easier as like.
Yeah.
And also and part of me is just going off their resemblance to Christian Bale and Matt Damon.
Yeah.
But I think Christian Bale does a really good performance.
Oh yes, actually, yeah, this is one of the best he's done in a while. I thought it was much better than Vice. I think he's good in Vice, but I feel. I don't think you get much of a sense of his performance in Vice because of the editing style, whereas in this, I think it gives him room to breathe in the performance, and I think he delivers a really good one.
It's interesting as well because obviously he is British. He's from the South Coast.
Yeah.
So is that like him doing closer to what his voice would have been back growing up?
No, I think the opposite. I think his voice has kind of gone off in such a tangent that this is like, it sounds like an American doing a northern accent.
Yeah.
But no, he's very good regardless. We're talking mostly about this film as well because it does have a little bit of resemblance to what we normally talk about in that it's directed by James Mangold, who did the last two Wolverine movies. It's also got the same composer and it looked like the same cinematography, so I'm guessing it's the same DOP, but I'm not completely sure on that one. It looked good, didn't it?
Yeah, it was really well shot. Like the fast bits felt fast.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it was quite well paced as well because like there's some that get the pacing really good. But did you see what was it, First Man?
Yes, I did. Boring.
That drags.
Yeah, that was dull.
I think if they like the bits where they're actually in space are quite interesting, but it spends so much time just dragging out the story.
Yeah.
And this, it didn't feel like a drag at all. Obviously, the third act is all around Le Mans.
Yeah, it was a long film, but yeah, it didn't feel like it dragged at any point.
And it still had plenty of time, I think, to build on what in a lot of these cases are kind of your core elements of your story, which is the people involved. It was really good, and I think what I actually thought was quite interesting as a directional choice was when they were doing, because they have that first Le Mans that they're going to go to.
Yeah.
They leave Ken behind, leave Christian Bale behind, and then you don't see any of it. Yeah,
just via radio.
Just via radio.
Yeah.
And it's just Christian Bale working in the workshop.
Yeah.
Until his wife comes to visit, and
yeah.
I think that was so. It's almost like, because obviously they could have very easily done this like a sports movie,
Yeah.
Like at the midpoint of the film is the time where they try and fail. Everyone's a bit dour, and then there's the everyone pulls up their socks, and they do it in the third act, by golly.
Yeah.
But this, they were like, almost as if being like, well, if this is what the film's about, if he's not there, it's not gonna.
Yeah. I thought the directional style was very good. I did have a little bit of a qualm with the script, and it's interesting that you say that it was written in the 90s, because like I haven't seen this sort of film in a long time, in that I haven't seen a film with very masculine leads who without any sort of big heavy emotional set downs, if you know what I mean. It's like, it's very, when you look at Henry Ford's character and the character of Enzo Ferrari and the character of Carroll Shelby and the character of Ken Miles, when they're talking to each other, it's all quite blokey and I'm going to do this, you're a dickhead, I'm going to punch you, and we're going to crack open a beer, and we're going to drink, and this guy called you fat, and it's all very... it's kind of tropes that I haven't actually seen in a long time, and I don't know. I don't know if it did seem like a dated screenplay, because it's interesting that you say it was set in the 90s, because I did notice that the kind of characterisation, especially of Ken Miles' wife, is somewhat dated at times. Would you agree?
I would, but then I don't know. I guess part of me was just like, one,
it's set in the 60s.
One, it's set in the 60s, and two, from what I understood before going in, it really was a pissing contest between Ford and Ferrari.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely was.
And that comes across, and actually I respected it, because it's a really weird one, because again, like a sports movie, you're expected to root for this team as the underdogs, but Ford is a massively bigger company.
Yeah.
And actually the film isn't afraid to show you that this is Henry Ford basically being hurt that he couldn't buy Ferrari.
Yeah.
And actually they don't paint Ferrari as like the villain or anything. They're kind of almost a neutral party, and obviously there's the rivalries between the racers.
Yeah.
But Enzo Ferrari is just kind of there.
And actually, like, it's not afraid to shy away from the fact that even though you see Ford as the underdog, it's not, like, Ford is the big corporation, and as there is a quote in the film where they say, it's all been about selling cars. So it's not quite, it actually gives quite a lot of depth to the characterisation of both the companies.
Yeah, it makes the competition seem a lot more, not so one-sided.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's bits in the third act, in the race at Le Mans, where Matt Damon's character, Carroll Shelby, just starts stealing stuff from the Ferrari garage. And I was actually a bit like, come on, don't be a dick. Because from a certain angle, you could see it as employee of massive American corporation as bullying this little Italian sports car maker.
Yeah. Where the markups are like basically nothing. In fact, that's the reason they had to sell.
Yeah.
One thing is, one thing I kind of missed from this, I mean, you and I probably saw, they did a documentary on this on an episode of Top Gear about 10 years ago, wasn't it? There's a missing story element for me, whereas, because I like the fact that there were these regulations to get into Le Mans, and one of those regulations was they had to create a series of production versions of the GT. And every GT came off the line slightly different to the previous one, and they kind of had to like smash out a production of at least 20 real world cars before they could enter it into Le Mans, and that kind of wasn't covered in this movie. But I guess scripts get streamlined to the point where you need to produce something cinematic. But no, nonetheless, I think with the material they had, I think it's not a bad movie.
I think they covered enough of like the rules and regulations stuff as it pertained to the characters.
Yeah.
Because obviously at the beginning they show
the bonnet bit.
The bonnet bit.
Yeah, that's a good scene. Good character development scene that as an entrance for Ken Miles' character. I also really liked one of the most visually and striking scenes in the movie. I thought was in the night on that runway.
Well, when he has his first crash.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
I thought that scene was pretty breathtaking. I thought a couple of the scenes during the day, a couple of the panning shots felt a little bit Gran Turismo because they're quite smooth. But other than that, it's if you're really looking for it, you'll notice. But if not, it's like a very realistic, very raw-looking film, which is good.
Yeah, and I think the performances do really sell it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I like the father-son relationship in it, and
yeah, that
obviously
kid actor's good as well, isn't it?
You can tell the complicated past between Shelby and Ken.
Yeah.
And it is actually, obviously, posthumously he was entered into the Racing Hall of Fame. But the fact that at the very end he's a team player and it costs him winning.
Yeah.
The the Daytona, Sebring, and Le Mans all in the same year. I actually was a bit disappointed for him.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, no, fuck the others, just go for it.
Yeah, I was a bit like, nah, screw him.
But then, like, that photo has... I mean, like, even though the you see a bit of the reasoning behind the photo, but I think even as a non-car person, I think a lot of people have probably seen that photo of the three Fords crossing the line, and it is quite a remarkable, like, historical motor racing photo, because Ford suddenly produced one of the quickest cars in the world, and the Ford GT still exists to this day, and I think it did a lot for their image, but also, yeah. What a dick move.
Exactly, like, I just wanted that executive to get punched a few times.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm quite surprised. Well, he got a little bit of ruffle-tuffle, but I was fully expecting Carroll Shelby to give him a good old licking on the nose.
I liked when they locked him in his office.
Yeah, that was a good scene, yeah.
That was just, it was a very obviously risky move by Shelby.
Yeah.
But the whole thing, I mean, obviously it's going to be dramatised to a certain amount.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good scene nonetheless.
Yeah. No, it's a good film. What would you give it out of a 90-degree thumbs up?
Oh, for God's sake. Just looking at my thumb at the moment.
Yeah. Can you get a protractor out?
Probably a 75-degree thumbs up.
Okay, yeah. I'm probably going with something to a sort of 65. Like, I thought it was a very well-made movie, but I feel like if with a slightly tighter script, I might have enjoyed this more because it is shot well. But I mean, like looking at Mangold's last movie, Logan, like I think that's a very character-based script, and you feel a little bit more depth within the characters. But yeah, anyway, no, it's a good movie, definitely worth a watch.
I think if you're a car fanatic,
yeah,
or even have a passing interest in car history or cars in general, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
There are definitely worse kind of biopics.
Yeah, definitely.
If
sure.
This is what this falls into. Hi, Phil here, co-host of the Cynical Optimists podcast and the editor of this video. If you liked what you heard here today, be sure to listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts or SoundCloud. There are other videos on this YouTube channel which give a bit more of a flavour of what we usually do. We cover the film, gaming and TV news of the week, and then we usually cover a recent release or popular discussion topic. So this week was obviously Le Mans 66, but the rest of the season we're going to be doing Knives Out, we're going to be doing Star Wars, so subscribe, listen to more, or just give this video a like or a comment. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.